In this video, we're going to show you how to install the front brake flex hose on your Ford Focus, located behind your front wheels. Using a 19mm socket, we're going to loosen and remove the lug nuts. Remove the wheel and set it aside. All right, here we have our flex hose. It attaches to our brake caliper with a 10mm banjo bolt. Comes across, there is a metal horseshoe retainer right here holding it to the strut. Follow this over, and then there's a hard line attaching to the flex hose, and that also uses a metal horseshoe clip. I'm going to start by removing the horseshoe clips and freeing up this here. A couple different ways you can normally do this. In some cases, you can go ahead and grab this with a pair of pliers and pull this off. Now we could tell that our horseshoe clip is in good shape. Otherwise, it would have probably crumbled apart on us by now. And we do want to reuse this. Now on this side here, we want to go ahead and loosen up the nut on the hard line that threads into the flex hose. We're going to use a 13mm open end wrench. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and you want to break this free. Make sure that that nut is spinning free. Sometimes the hard line will rust to the nut. Go ahead and use a little wire brush, clean that, and keep on soaking it in some rust penetrant. You need that nut to spin freely from the hard line. I'm just going to snug that up gently to go ahead and keep any fluid from leaking out of there. And now I want to go ahead and remove the horseshoe tab that's on the back of that one as well. I'm just using a 90-degree pick right here. Here we go. Now if either one of these lines or if either one of these horseshoe clips is in poor condition, you definitely want to go ahead and source out some replacements. We're going to go ahead and remove the bolt from the back side of the caliper. That is a 10mm. Have a catch can ready to go underneath, as you're probably going to lose some brake fluid. In most cases, you're probably going to be replacing the flex hose because you have a fluid flow issue. Don't forget, you have two copper washers here, one on the banjo bolt, one on the caliper side. Go ahead and disconnect the line over here. Unthread that. You can wiggle this out and remove it. Going to grab that new line. You want to pay attention to these here just to show you. These are keyed. This has a little tab on it right there. They'll actually lock in to the bracket itself. So when you install this here, rotate it. Go ahead and get that line threaded in. Now on this side here, I want to go ahead and get this end of the hose installed. When installing the banjo bolt, make sure you install new copper washers. One on the bolt side, one on the caliper side. All right, we're going to go ahead and snug down this bolt. We're just going to snug it gently. This does have to get torqued afterwards. Wipe off the excess brake fluid here. We now want to go ahead and clean our horseshoe clips. Make sure you get both of them. So if you notice that, you take this, feed it down and in, push it in, and then install the clip. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the back here. Line that up onto there. Use your hammer. Locked in. Now let's go ahead and torque down our bolt here. This needs to torque down to 35 foot-pounds. Now at this point here, go ahead and use some spray solvent. And just rinse off any of that residual brake fluid that might have run out. Now right here is your bleeder cap. We're going to go ahead and pop this off. If your vehicle does not have this, it is not critical to the operation of the vehicle. All right, then we're going to use our 10mm box wrench here. You can use an open end if you want. We're going to go ahead and crack this open. By opening this up, it's going to allow the brake fluid to come through the flex hose and fill up the backside of the piston area here on your brake caliper. We're going to purge out any air that is in the system. This is considered a gravity bleed. You can see we have a steady stream of fluid coming out. We're going to let this drip for a little bit and check for any air bubbles that come out. All right, everything looks good here, so let's go ahead and close this up. Snug that down. Go ahead and use some spray solvent to clean up any of that residual brake fluid. Go ahead and install the rubber cap here. Now at this point here, you can go ahead and repeat this process for the passenger side. At that point there, we want to go ahead and top off the brake fluid underneath the hood. Hop into the vehicle. You want to pump up the brakes. Make sure that brake pedal is nice and firm. It could take 3 to 4 pumps to get that brake pedal to be nice and firm. At that point there, you can go ahead and install your wheels and go for a road test. And take your wheel, line it up on the wheel studs, and let's go ahead and get the lug nuts started. I'm going to start them all by hand, and then we'll come on back and snug them down. When snugging these down, it's ideal to do them in a crisscross pattern. Let's go ahead and torque down our lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds. And ideally, you want to do this in a crisscross pattern. And there you have it. I'm going to start by spraying down the master cylinder. I want to make sure that this is clean before we open up the reservoir. We don't want any debris to fall down inside. I'm going to open up the reservoir. Set that off to the side. Then we're going to use an evacuation tool. You can use something like a turkey baster if you have something like that. And we want to pull out as much of that brake fluid as possible. Sometimes you can get quite a bit out, and other times you can get a minimal amount. But either way, you want to go ahead and pull that fluid out as much as you can. have a container set aside. You can go ahead and put that fluid. We're going to continue this process until we have out as much as possible. Now at this point we have out as much as we can get. We are going to remove our container here and get that out of the way so we don't spill it anywhere. Now I want to go ahead and fill up our reservoir with appropriate brake fluid recommended. And on this here, the container tells us it's DOT3. So you want to go ahead and check it. It could be on here or it could be on the lid itself. So we're going to top up our reservoir, fill up with some fresh fluid, and we get to that full mark. And add a little bit more to get there. Right, now that we're at the max line, I'm going to go ahead and install our lid here. Now here we are ready to perform our brake leading process. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the right rear wheel, which is a passenger side rear wheel. Then we're going to proceed over to the left rear, which is the driver's side rear. Then we're going to proceed over to the right front and end at the left front. Now we have some assistance. We have someone inside the vehicle that's going to be pumping up our brake pedal for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up this brake leader screw. We're going to start by pulling off this little rubber cap here. If you don't have this rubber cap, it's not critical to the operation of the brakes. However, if you have it, you definitely need to remove it to do this process. Now what we're going to do is going to have that person inside the vehicle pump up the brakes about 4 to 5 times and hold pressure.
Holding.
While they're holding pressure, we're going to go ahead and pop this little container here on here to hold or maintain fluid. It's going to capture this fluid. And we're going to go ahead and open this up. Now inside the vehicle, the brake pedal is going to go to the floor, and then we'll go ahead and close this. And we're going to do this multiple times. What we're looking to do is capture or release any air that is in the system, and we want a solid, steady stream of brake fluid to come through our line. All right, go ahead and pump it up. Okay, and we're going to continue this process until we have that solid stream of fluid. Continue, please.
Holding. Floor.
Go ahead, pump it up. All right, at this point here, we are getting a good solid stream of fluid. We're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to proceed over and do the same process on the driver's side rear wheel. Go ahead.
Holding.
All right, we'll snug this down. I want to go ahead and relieve our drainage hose here. Now, if you have some spray solvent, you want to go ahead and give this a quick little spray. Clean up the brake fluid, as brake fluid is corrosive, so you want to make sure you clean that up the best you can. And if you have that rubber cap, go ahead and pop that onto that bleeder screw. Now that we've bled the 2 rear wheels, let's go ahead up to the master cylinder and top that off. And then we're going to continue with the right front wheel and then end with the left front. And then we're going to come back and top off the reservoir again. Let's go ahead and open up our reservoir. And let's go ahead and fill this up. Once you're filled up, go ahead and install this. Now here we are over at the right front. This is a third wheel that we're doing. I want to go ahead and use our 10mm wrench right here. I'm going to place our port for our container on there. I'm going to go have the person inside pump up the brakes and hold it.
Holding.
Let's go ahead and crack this open. Okay, pump it up.
Holding.
Pump it up.
Holding.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Remove our hose. Spray it down with some spray solvent. Clean that up. Now, if you have the rubber cap, go ahead and install that now. I'm going to go ahead and proceed and end with the left front wheel. Let's go ahead and open up our reservoir. And let's go ahead and fill this up. Once it's filled up, go ahead and install this.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.